Feels good to have the title this time.
You wish you read this.
Oh, jeez. God.
Okay. Stop. You sit down. You stay there. And you, especially you, behave. I've been walking around for the past 3 weeks in this stupid ref shirt as your on-demand ref lady all over this ridiculous title. Kyle is the champion this week of the 24/7 IR champion title or whatever you call it. I'm done, and you guys are gonna have to wait till next week. And I am going downstairs. Actually, we're all going downstairs. I'm going to have a nice snack. No fighting.
Okay. Hello and welcome once again to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Medeka. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merkzone, Mike Merkel. Yes.
Oh.
In part 2 of this episode, we will be joined by the great NBA insider himself, Mr. Kyle Budzanowski. So it will be great to have him on the show. But Mike, we have so much to talk about. This first half of the show is going to be heavy wrestling, right? We've got Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman being anointed the new executive directors of both Raw and SmackDown, respectively. We're talking some Rollins, Will Ospreay / Kenny Omega / everybody in the wrestling world Twitter banter going on. We've got Best in the World from Ring of Honor and Fyter Fest from AEW's reviews on those shows and some compare and contrast. And we've also got Michigan baseball, and I want to talk about the University of Michigan as a whole and their downfalls in big games. And lastly, to top it all off at the very end of it, we're going to be talking some NBA possible schedule changes that I think we'd all could be in favor for, if they do it the right way. So lots of great stuff coming at you right away, Mike. Let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to talk about, Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, hired new executive directors of Raw and SmackDown. Both are going to report directly to Vince McMahon. Heyman has Raw. Bischoff has SmackDown. He's going to be working a lot with Fox because SmackDown moves to Fox here in the next couple months. How big is this move for WWE? Is it because there's so many people on one side that are like me where I'm so pumped about it, and then there's other path for just like it's retreads. So where are you at?
I mean, a big change is something that the WWE has needed for about 2 years now. It's been rinse and repeat for a very long time. So them coming in, maybe changing up a little bit, is going to be a nice little change and a blend of different stuff that we haven't seen. However, going straight to Vince McMahon is still... It's almost the same thing, except Heyman could probably persuade to do more of his stuff.
Well, he does own the company, so he's always been the final say.
When I'm in that point, though, it's like, Heyman's like, hey, I have this cool idea, this guy, whatever, and then Vince is like, yeah, but I don't like that. Yeah. And it's still going to end up Vince's way, which it always is, but if it always goes that way, then I don't think it's going to benefit too much. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people's complaint, just similar to yours, right, is at the end of the day, this guy watches one thing, it's WWE, right? So he doesn't see the outside world, right? In my opinion, though, I think this is a healthy move for the company because I think this is Vince and I think people within the company going, we have a problem. Clearly we have a problem, right? Talent wants to leave. You know what I mean? The viewership is down. We're trying to lock people up for long-term deals and nobody wants to re-sign anybody of any real major note, right? So it's like there's a lot of writing on the wall here to where I do think that they're finally starting to recognize, and I think that by bringing in the only two people in this world that have even come close to even remotely threatening Vince McMahon are Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman. I mean, Paul Heyman's working in creative now, unofficially for a while, with Brock and Ronda and some other stuff, right? Bischoff, I know people say, well, did you not miss that whole TNA run? I said, but TNA really dropped off a cliff after the Aces and Eights thing, right? Yeah. So, and Bischoff won. Let's be clear. Bischoff was winning for a long period of time. Now, granted, is it because of the NWO? Of course it was. But point being is that he's not the final guy making decisions. So some of that stuff will get filtered out, you know? Do you approve of the move? Do you think that if they were going to do something like this, or are these the people you would have hired, right? Is there anybody else that you can come to mind? Like, there's a Dave Lagana who was for WWE. He now works for NWA. You know, you could have theoretically brought in Billy Corgan, who owns the NWA, right? You could have brought in, you know, some people from Ring of Honor like they've done before. They've got a ton of ex-TNA employees right now working for them as producers and agents, but are these the guys, like, if you're going to do anything to shift creative and to say, you know what, take them and run. I don't know anybody else necessarily that could be better.
No, I mean, if you were like, hey, who's two guys that you could come bring in and change the company?
Right.
It'd probably be those two guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe, I love how New Japan books, so maybe their booking staff would be something good, but they never, like, get those guys. Yeah, so you're not going to get those guys. So, for me, I guess those two would be the two people.
Right. I mean, because here's the way. I mean, because for me, and we talked about this before the show. When the reports first came out, I could not be more excited for this. Right?
Yeah.
Listening to this and seeing what's going to be happening, and they're going to truly be in charge. We're not going to see this change overnight, right? It's not going to be an instant change. But what I do see is a willingness to go, okay, there's a problem, and we're willing to do something different, right? Yeah. We're willing to bring in other minds, other creative aspects of it, you know. And I mean, you can't say you're a Paul Heyman guy or girl, but not like this move at the same time. I get it, you're still reporting to Vince, but if Vince is at least acknowledging that maybe there's a problem involved here, then I think that we will start to see some changes, right? I do think that you will start to see things where you go, thank you, that makes sense. And sometimes, guys, especially in the wrestling world, new is just sometimes better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just sometimes different crap is better than the same crap.
Well, also, getting two different guys to split the brands up maybe helps also.
Yeah.
Because Vince doing both, you know, you might, even like, say like me and you were doing like two different shows, you could be like, oh, what did we do a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, making everything make sense is a lot harder when you're running 2, 3, 4, 5 different shows.
Right.
Like, Vince is in. Plus, he's doing the XFL stuff, too. He's got his hand in so much stuff where he's like, he's got to okay this stuff. And he's like, but didn't we do that last? Maybe we didn't. Maybe I'm, like, forgetting what we did. Okay.
Yeah, he's also 70.
Yeah, so, like, but now having a guy who's just in charge of Raw and a guy just there for SmackDown, now you got Triple H still going in NXT. So you have these three, like, pillars in these spots that Heyman can go, no, 2 weeks ago, they just changed the title, so let's not do it so soon now.
Right.
And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And I think,
maybe that could help out.
For sure, absolutely. And I think that, if nothing else, what it does is it bolsters the pen, you know, so to speak, right, of people that you can count on to go, okay, you have everybody who's had any sort of success in this industry with you now. You know what I mean? Like, we can bash Bischoff and WCW as much as we want. You know, obviously they rose. It was a meteoric rise and then an epic disaster at the end. But at the same time, the wrestling world would have been completely different if Eric Bischoff was able to buy WCW in 2000, or 2001. So because of that, because of the fact that everybody wants Paul Heyman, you know, and it's always talked about how SmackDown, when Heyman was head writer of SmackDown kicked Raw's ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there's some things that you can see with the talent that WWE has, and let's not kid ourselves, they have the best talent, right?
Yeah.
Overall, they have the most, they have the biggest reach, they've got tons of talent, right? Regardless of what AEW has, they have a lot of great talent. So I think bringing in a fresh mind, just go, okay, let's reset it. You know what I mean? Let's get on our right path. Let's get on a portion where we can just go, yes, we can do some things, right? And just a different feel to the show.
Here's what scares me, though, is what if it doesn't work?
If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, but then I'm sitting there and go, you got like two of the best minds coming in. It doesn't work. Now what? Now what? And that's the scary part for me is you're basically setting this move up going, it has to work.
Right.
Like, this has to make change. It has to increase viewers.
You know, here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, WWE is always going to be around. They're such a juggernaut. There's so much money. They've never made more money historically, right? Yeah. We're speaking from the aspect of a wrestling fan, not as a 7-year-old wrestling fan. There's a difference, right? Correct. So you've seen the ups, you've seen the downs, right? And you're just like, gosh, this sucks sometimes. You know what I mean? But I do think, like, I didn't think Stomping Ground was that bad. We're not going to do a full review on it. I don't think it's worth that. But I didn't think Stomping Ground was that bad. Did you? Going into it, you were just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be rough. Yeah, but I thought it was better than expected. I know that's not saying a lot, but I thought it was better. Yeah. You know what I mean? But last question I want to ask on this topic, too, before we kind of, move on, and I'll get your thoughts here in a second, but is this WWE finally admitting to themselves that, all right, we're in a fight? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I feel like this, like you said, right, this is a big move, and has potential to really change the way the product is done. Yeah. And because of that, I do think that there's a certain level of, you know what, we see you, we recognize you, we understand that, you know what, you're coming for us. Whether you've said it directly or not, you're coming. Mm-hmm. So because of that, do you think that this is like their first effort to go, you know what, we see it, we understand it, we validate it, and now let's go. You know what I mean? Like, this is their move, this is their next, their next chess piece to be moved to go, your move now.
Yeah, I think, and it's almost at a perfect time now, where AEW is about to start their show in October. Mm-hmm. Apparently dates like October 14th or something, like middle of the range there. So you're going to get these pieces and you're going to get the ball moving about a month or two. I'm assuming around SummerSlam time is really when you're going to start. If you see the change, that's really when the change is going to start.
Yeah, because SummerSlam like the middle of the year, so that's when you kind of see like a reboot of storyline.
Yeah, you got guys get called up and you guys move around, and then that's where everything reboots. Yep. So, and that's about 2 months before AEW's show starts. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really the time that they're looking at to go, right, okay, we got all these writers in, we're going to write some good storylines, and now we're going to try to get it set before the war really starts in October. Oh, yeah, when their show starts. Yes. And they're going to be getting a lot of viewers, as we talked about, because as like the first month or two of the show, even if it's the worst wrestling show on the planet,
right, you're going
to watch the first 2 months just to see what's going on.
Exactly.
So they're going to need to help get those viewers back and be like...
Absolutely. Even if it's on the same day, at the end of the day, ratings is king, right? And I know people say it's not really, but it is. Yeah. Because at the end of it all, if WWE is underperforming, right, and AEW is just killing them, you know what I mean? If AEW is setting records all of a sudden,
that's the big problem. Is if like they're just going so bad, and fans are like, I don't want to watch this, and now you watch AEW one night a week for 2 hours or whatever, and they love it. Yeah. People are gonna go, why would I watch 8 hours of WWE when AEW's on for an hour a week? Like, it's not that much to invest into.
Exactly. The only thing is that if I'm AEW, I'm a little concerned because I don't necessarily want to go right up against them, because WWE's resources you don't have. Like, let's be real here. They have the network, right? They have these outreaches with other companies. They're doing that Evolve show on the WWE network,
same day as
exactly. If you don't think that's not a coincidence, you're full of yourself. You know
what I mean? AEW, I think, came out and said they're going to have more of a takeover like schedule.
Right.
Probably about 5 to 6 like all out. Like,
well, that's what WWE used to do, right? Yeah. They used to do the Clash of the Champions, which was a 1.5 2 hour show that was on TBS. Yeah. And then that was supposed to be like their intermediate in between like a Great American Bash and whatever, right? You know what I mean? So you probably had 4 major pay-per-views, and then you had these, do you
like that over just having
yes, because they don't have enough talent right now. There's no way to do it any other way right now. There's not enough matchups. WWE has that ability. They don't do it, but they have that thought. You know what I mean? So I'm in total agreement with that.
I mean, no, even like a year or two down the line, though, even when they start getting more talent and stuff,
I think it depends. I think if you did more of these Fyter Fest shows, which we'll talk about in the second half of the show, but I think that if by doing that, right, and saying, you know what, we get it that maybe not everybody can always afford an all-out show, right? Yeah. They can't afford the $35.99 every quarter or whatever. Yeah. We're going to give these Fyter Fests away for free, right? So you still see culminations of storylines, you still see title changes, all that kind of good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not diluting the product where, okay, every single week or every month I got to pay another $25, because no one's going to do that. WWE knows that. That's why the network exists, right? Mm-hmm. Is we can put on whatever we want. You're already paid the month, so you're going to watch it. We know you're going to watch it, right? Yeah. So I think that with all these moves that WWE is making, I think that it's helping AEW a little bit too, because it's like they're fine. Okay, the machine recognizes that we exist, right? They are recognizing and they are doing things in response to the positive response that we are getting from just these individual shows, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's tremendous. I think if nothing else, if you are a WWE fan, I think you should be excited. I mean, personally, I'm such a fan of both of these guys for completely different reasons. One is for creative side and the Paul Heyman side, but two, the production value and stuff like that. Like Eric Bischoff knows what he's talking about as far as TV production goes, right? And he was responsible for the most productive time that WCW ever had. I think people forget WCW was really only in existence for about 5 or 6 years. I mean, it was like 95 to 2001. That was when it was actually called WCW. So, like, a real true WCW, what you're thinking. You know what I mean? Yeah. There was some early 90s before that.
Okay, one more thought about just AEW now, just in general, since we talked a lot about WWE now. Yeah. Just the date of the show is on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Is that... To me, I think that's the perfect day to have
of course, because show. I think you've got a hangover. Now, the problem is that I think it could be a problem at one point, because if you look at it, WWE's numbers start to climb, and we start to see a better product, right? Yeah. We see some of these guys that we've clamored for to get pushed. They take some of the McMahons off TV. We stop putting Baron Corbin in the main event every week. Yeah. You know, and you do some of these things. Then you're like, man, Raw's killing it. SmackDown's killing it. Okay, now I'm going to watch AEW, and like I do think there's going to be a pressure to follow some of that, right? Now, at the beginning, like we said, it's fine. The roster has to grow immediately, right? I think they've done a nice job so far, and we're going to talk about that more in the second half with Fyter Fest, but they've done a nice job of progressing some major storylines. I'm interested to see, though, how this is all going to shape out, because it's different by doing one pay-per-view every month than it is to do weekly TV 4 times a week.
But just like in general, as like a Wednesday 9 to 11
like I said,
slot.
Right now I think it's fine. Yeah. Because there's nothing on Wednesdays. Nothing ever goes on Wednesday.
That's what I mean, though. Exactly. Like, you're not competing against Monday Night Football.
Right, but as a wrestling fan, if I'm enjoying the WWE product, right, and I say, like, because we're fans of everything, right? Yeah. We watch Ring of Honor, we watch New Japan, we watch it all. But because of that, if you're a fan and you're saying, wow, Raw's killing it right now, like, I am really enjoying Raw, and SmackDown follows up, you're like, man, SmackDown is like, I can see it, you know, like you can see this change. How much more wrestling are you going to watch every week? After the initial period of AEW, like, okay, let's see what they're doing, and we kind of roll onto it. It's like, man, I don't got, you know, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 7 hours of time to devote just to watching TV, right? Now, some people can, right? Yeah. I am not one of those people. I can't, well, I'm not going to sit and watch 7 hours of wrestling every day, right? Now, thankfully, we haven't had to, because Raw and SmackDown have been so terrible for so long, but anyway, but the point being, right? Yeah. I think time will have to shake that out a little bit, right? You know, or if SmackDown moves back to Fridays, whatever, then they're kind of back in that.
Well, there's actually one more. I guess I'm going to keep adding points here. Yeah, for sure. If they get rid of the brand split and say, like, their big majority is just Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, like it was in, like, 2011, 2012, where SmackDown's kind of just, like, the enhancement thing, I think that hinders WWE. Like, I think they need the brand split.
They need a hard brand split again, and I think that needs to happen. I think you're right. I think SummerSlam right after that is the time you're going to see it. Wildcard rule needs to go away.
Yeah, it needs to go away. Because I get to your point, like, if you have a hard brand split, AEW could be in trouble in the middle of the week there. Exactly. But if you're having just, like...
you've got the same people on both shows all the time, it's the same thing.
Yeah, you could just go, okay, I'm just going to watch Raw and AEW, and now you got the AEW crowd.
Exactly. I think WWE is going to be very careful with that. I think the wildcard rule was a result of, wow, we just need to do something to spike it, so let's do the unpredictability thing, right? Yeah. Similar to the 24/7 championship, but I'm going to be honest with you, I think 24/7 championship's been more successful than this wildcard rule.
Well, I think the wildcard rule would work if it was actually somebody different every week.
Yeah, not Roman Reigns every week.
Yeah. Well, when Roman Reigns is on Raw and not SmackDown, but he's technically a SmackDown guy, it doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly.
And that's how
why is Kofi every night on Raw and SmackDown, right? Yeah. Kevin Owens is on the Raw and SmackDown. You've got
all these guys on both. Yeah. Or I guess when they come in, maybe they won't go on both.
Absolutely. All right. Fair. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is. I'm really excited. If you're a wrestling fan, you should be totally excited. Now, moving on a little bit, we're staying in the wrestling world here. Seth Rollins came out right before the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view and basically said that he's the best in the world. Nobody does it like he does. Nobody gets paid like he does. Nobody does as many dates as he does. And Will Ospreay went, I do. to the same degree, and there was some back and forth there. Kenny Omega chimed in about the Saudi Arabia shows, which, fair. I mean, you can take that or leave it however you want. But first off, I just want to start with Rollins because I don't know if this was necessarily a company objective where they went, Seth, I need you to go in and really pump this product, or if this is just Seth being like, you know what, screw this. I'm busting my ass. I'm the champion. I need to champion this company like, they expect me to do so. But Do you agree with Rollins, right? Do you agree? Because I don't think we can argue and say that Rollins hasn't been a top 5 performer in the past 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when he's healthy and he's on. He's on. I mean, you know what I mean? His promos are always pretty darn good. His matches with even guys like Baron Corbin, you could put on a hell of a contest. So he's had some phenomenal matches. I think that he's been hindered a little bit. I thought they waited a little too long to pull the trigger on giving him the world title again. Yeah. But that's regardless of the point. Do you agree that Rollins is the best in the world right now as we're sitting here talking for the amount of dates? I don't care about the money portion because we can't control that, right? WWE's got a fortune. So, but as far as the money goes, as far as the dates and as in-ring ability, the promo, and more importantly, putting butts in seats. Yeah. Right? Because WWE's not drawing as well as it used to right now. Yeah. So is he being hindered by that? Is he the best? Straight up. See, it's hard to call, right? It's extremely hard.
Because I actually do think Will Ospreay is like a 1A, 1B to be. Like, those two guys are my two favorites in the world right now. Right. Kenny Omega's probably 2, but very close to 1. Right. But those two are probably my 1A, 1B. I think the only difference is Rollins is in a tough spot because how WWE is. Yeah. They don't have divisions. Right. You know, so like, Will Ospreay's right now, well, he's technically the heavyweight, whatever you want to say that, but he was a junior, so he's going up against Bandito and all these, you know, Robbie Eagles, and he's got all these guys that can really work and can really do stuff with him. Yeah. Where Rollins is kind of stuck where he's got Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, Baron Corbin, and I think the ability that he can take Bobby Lashley and have an actually a good match kind of elevates him to be better than like I think anybody can have a great match with like Bandito. Right. Like that's not like hard to do if you're like really good. Yeah. Or like Kenny Omega, like Ospreay Okada just like can go all out and do whatever. But Rollins, Baron Corbin, and they're still making the same stuff happen. I feel like it's
Here's why I would think that Seth is probably above Will right now, at least. Right. If this is the two people that we're considering the best, I throw Kenny in there, but Kenny hasn't worked much in the past 6-8 months. So, really. But with that being But with that being said, right. I think that if you put Will Ospreay in WWE and you put Seth Rollins in New Japan, I'd still think that Rollins would be better off. Right? No, I think Ospreay would drown right now in the WWE landscape, right? Yeah. So that
I don't know about drown, but I do think Rollins.
I think he'd be where Ricochet's at. Yeah, he'd be a US IC kind of realm, right? Because I don't think Ospreay's promos are super high up there for me, but his athletic ability and his matches are phenomenal, right? Yeah. So you kind of have to balance that out. It's similar to like a Dynamite Kid situation. He's got a 0 promo, but he's got a 10 wrestling rate, right? Yeah. So can't
average out. Yeah.
Exactly. So with that being said, though, I think that Rollins, I think, makes a great point in saying, you may be the best, right? Yeah. But the product is not the best, and I think that's where people I think are kind of calling it. Like calling and saying, no, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? You know, because I think New Japan has done a great job. We've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it next week about the G1, where they've talked, you know, the depth that they have. WWE doesn't have that kind of depth that they're utilizing. They have depth, but they're just not using it. You know, the fact that Shinsuke or Andrade or even like guys like Rusev and you know Ryder and Hawkins, all these guys who are technically very good in the ring and have strong enough characters to be on television, and I got a tug of war between Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. Makes no sense. You know what I mean?
See, here's the thing. If, say, Rollins in the WWE one day, they ever came up with the idea to do some kind of, like, G1 thing. Yeah. Because I thought, going to SummerSlam, that would be a great thing to have some big tournament to decide who's going to be the number one contender for SummerSlam as your second biggest show, technically, if you want to call it, after WrestleMania. Yeah. If he had some tournament where he had AJ and he had, you know, all these Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, all these guys just got 20 of them just got put into a round robin thing, and he would have 10 5-star matches.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Given the time, right? Given him 20 to 25 minutes, it would be phenomenal.
All those guys that can really work and that he goes with, he could work and make amazing matches out of those. Right. But just he gets stagnated with Baron Corbin every week, and he gets Bobby Lashley, and he still gets very good matches. I enjoy those matches. That's why he's 1A for me. Mm-hmm. But Ospreay, I want to see him. I would like to see him against bigger guys or guys that can't work as well, and see him bring him up to a good match.
No doubt, absolutely.
I feel like the great matches he has with like Okada and all those, Okada carries him kind of through
a little bit. Oh, for sure. And
so,
I think too, because of the WWE product, right? I think that sometimes us fans get in the habit of, okay, it's New Japan, so it's immediately better, right? I think sometimes we get into a habit of thinking, all right, it's WWE, it's gonna suck. Like I said, I thought Stomping Grounds was fine. I thought they did a hell of a job telling that story with him and Corbin and the Lacey Evans thing and all that good stuff. I thought the tag matches were. I thought there was a lot of good things about Stomping Grounds that you can build off of. Now, am I thrilled about Extreme Rules being basically the same thing over and over again? Not really. No, I'm not going to be thrilled with that, right? But like I said, there's some good things that WWE is doing, and I think Rollins is a big part of that. Last question on this topic before we go to break. As a fan, do you enjoy this kind of back and forth, right? About, with all these different guys from all these different promotions, right? Obviously, New Japan's a little harder because they don't all speak English, but, guys like Ospreay, right? Or Rollins and Kenny's getting into it. Jericho's kind of chiming in every once in a while. I see Tama Tonga chiming in on some of that stuff because he just likes to be part of it, right? Do you enjoy the fact that these guys are coming up and saying, no, screw you, you're wrong, we're the best product, right? We've shown it, we're proving it, and and kind of sticking up for themselves. And I feel like, I don't know if it's a work. If it's a work, this is a completely useless topic, but I'm going with the fact that they're actually legitimately want to say that we're the best.
Yeah.
And I feel like that fuels people, to go out there and put on like a hell of a product for us to benefit from.
Yeah. Well, I actually love it because everyone always goes, WWE's 1, and whatever, New
everything
Japan's
else is 2.
Everything else is 2, 3, whatever. Yeah. But when you really look at something like Wrestle Kingdom, or you go back to the Dominion last year with the over hour-long match, that was one of the best matches I think ever.
That whole card was phenomenal. If you haven't gone and see that, buy New Japan World, buy that.
That's fantastic. But you just go back and you watch some of their big cards and stuff, and you go, this is on WWE level or better.
Oh yeah, production values there, everything.
Literally everything's there that you want. So I love the banter that Ron's no, we're still the best, and they're like, do you see what we do though?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Have you watched Wrestle Kingdom 13? We had 5-star matches.
Nobody's ever going to have the outreach that WWE has. It's not possible. The old kid on the block, they've been around forever. It's just how it is, right? Yeah. When you think professional wrestling, you think WWE. Most of the time, people don't know what professional wrestling is, but they know what WWE is. Yes. They don't ever tie those two things together, right? It's fake stuff.
Whenever I tell people that I watch, I just go, just watch WWE. Because I don't want to explain Japanese wrestling or something. They don't understand that.
Of course.
Yeah, because they just think everything's in the... People think everything's in the bubble of WWE.
Exactly.
And I think that's what those guys are trying to go...
Right?
Tama Tonga's we're not WWE. We are our own thing, and we are doing a great job over here. Yeah. And we exist. And I love the banter between the two.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I think if nothing else, it's fun for fans like us to go out and be like, this is awesome, right? Just to see, because you're never going to see that, right? You're never going to see Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins face each other. It's never going to happen, right? As long as they're in separate companies, right? So... in the meantime, it's fun to be able to go and make little jabs. And, Ospreay had a shirt now made that says little man on it, or little guy, or whatever. Did you really? Yeah. That's fantastic. So those kinds of things are like, all right, we're going to take this and we're going to fuel this and we're going to go with it and make these little comments because every fan wants that peek behind the curtain, right? We all want to see, you know what I mean? We want to know what's going on. We want to know why it's happening and how it happens and why is this guy doing this and everything else.
I think the reason everyone loves it so much too, it almost brings back the old days and kayfabe.
Well, it's where
because now you have ride along or whatever, and you just see all these guys who are supposed to be in feuds just hanging out with each other, and you're like, it's not really it's not the realism. Right. Now you go, wait, is this a shoot or is it real? Are they actually angry?
Right. We know it's a work. We know that this stuff is predetermined, but at the same time, there's still a tremendous amount of pride that goes into your craft, right? And I think that's it, right? We can come on this show and say that we're the best sports podcast in the Metro Detroit area. We are, no doubt about it. I mean, it's right in our, that's just how it is. Yeah. Some people may disagree, and that's fine, but I will fight tooth and nail to say that it's not. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I think it's a lot of fun. If nothing else, I think it gives us something to talk about. It's great stuff. All right. After the break, we've got a lot of good stuff. We're going to go right back into wrestling for a second. We're going to review both Best in the World from the Ring of Honor and Fire Thrust from AEW and kind of do some compare and contrast there. And then we're going to talk about Michigan's baseball College World Series run, as well as University of Michigan as a whole. And then we're going to end the show on a high note with some NBA schedule changes with our man, Kyle Budznowski.
And maybe some free agency news.
Oh, maybe, possibly. Just depending, right there. Depending on stuff breaks when we're shooting, right? All that and more after the break.
Hey guys, this is the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka from the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Just reminding you that we are live every single Monday at 7 in the morning on your favorite streaming services. All 5 major sports: football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and professional wrestling. I'm Always Right Sports Podcast every Monday, 7 a.m. See you there.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of episode 31, guys. Episode 31 of this great sports podcast.
Oh, hey, you finally joined us.
Hey, we're going to welcome to the set the man himself, Kyle Budznowski. All right, let's just jump right in real quick here. Mike, best in the world, Fyter Fest, back-to-back days. Lots of good stuff happening. Some not-so-good stuff happening as well. Let's just start off. I'll just, high level. Better overall show. Which one did you like more? Did you like Fyter Fest or Best in the World? I have some problems with Best in the World that we're going to talk about in a second. But let's talk about Fyter Fest and them as a whole. Which one did you like? Which one did you enjoy better?
I kind of like Best in the World better a little bit. I think the card for Fyter Fest was a little underwhelming. Mm-hmm. I thought going back to it, looking at kind of the stuff, the opening triple threat tag match, fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought Cody and Darby Allin, fantastic.
Yes.
With a great ending.
Yes.
And I thought Moxley and Joe Janela did everything they could in that non-sanctioned match.
Yes.
I think the 6-man tag was a little spot heavy.
Yep.
It wasn't real. I wish it would have been a little more of a.
There was no
story or anything. It was just really just get everything in and leave kind of thing.
Exactly.
So that kind of upset me a little bit.
Yep.
And everything else is very unforgettable, I feel like.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? And I'm in agreement with you. The Fyter Fest, I feel like, was just another card. It was okay. Let's just get more people out there, right? I thought the women did a pretty nice job too.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty entertaining match considering, right? I agree with you. I think the two. I think that the only problem I had with Best in the World is that their main event went 9 minutes long, right? You cannot advertise Jeff Cobb being undefeated in Ring of Honor against Matt Taven, your biggest heel in the company, and it go 9 minutes. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry. With the rest of that card and how it was laid out, there is no way that match should only have been 9 minutes. That's an extremely poor mismanagement of time by Ring of Honor, and because we watched it, right, and we actually had to pay for it, it's really annoying. Like, extremely annoying. That match should have been a lot longer. It should have been the focal point of that card. You had you have an undefeated guy here that you're trying to build up, former television champion, and you don't do anything with it, right? I felt like that was an extremely big miss by Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I will say that, but however, going through the card...
overall, I'm in agreement with you. Yes.
I'm looking, Kenny King, Jay Lethal.
Yep.
Kenny King hit the lethal injection on Jay Lethal to basically win the match, which I thought was awesome in the best of 3 series, kind of just ending in that way. The Pure Rules match going 18 minutes didn't need to go that long, but I thought the technicality of the match was quite amazing between the
Jonathan
two.
Gresham is fantastic, and Silas Young is supremely underrated. Absolutely.
We were talking about Shane Taylor and Bandito going, wow, this is probably going to suck. It was actually one of the better matches of the night, in my opinion. Bandito really brought out some stuff in Shane Taylor with just by being smaller, so Taylor looked way more...
You can feed him. Feed. Absolutely.
And then the 6-man tag was probably the best match on the card.
Yes.
Altogether.
With Flip Gordon.
And then Flip Gordon joining.
I don't think, and I think that's why Best in the World overall was better. I just had to get the main event thing out of there because that's annoying.
That's right.
But I do think that because Best in the World, I think, helped people, right? I think you got more stars. I'm not a Shane Taylor fan. I've been very adamant about that. But like you said, right? I thought Bandito got him to another level, right? I thought the 6-man match was fantastic, and now you're bringing Flip in. You're adding elements, right? I don't think anything happened in Fyter Fest really that sets anything up, right? Like, Moxley and Kenny. We already knew that was going to be a thing, right?
I mean, you kind of planted seeds for Paige and MJF.
Right, a little bit.
The title,
exactly. Which I thought was a fine match. I appreciated the fact about Fyter Fest, though. The one thing they did do, which was really nice, in my opinion, they made 2 guys last night. Darby Allin against Cody. Phenomenal. You saw what that kid brings to the table. The fact that he's willing to put it all out there like that whole jump off, the oh my gosh, was craziness. And then Janela and Moxley, right? I thought they used the weapons in a way where it was actually kind of unique, right? I thought there was some thought put into it, right? I thought that it didn't go too crazy. It wasn't a massive blood fest, right, or anything like that. I thought they told a nice story, and I think it put Janela on another level to where you go, okay, like this I know this guy now, right? Like if you didn't know who he was before, you know him now.
There was the ending of that match.
Yes.
Did you watch the match,
the full match, yeah.
So they put the thumbtacks out the second time, and I go, if he hits a dirty deeds into the thumbtacks, I'm going to scream so loud.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he literally goes, and then he does like the raising one, where he lifts him up and drops him, and he didn't release his arms, so literally it was just head first into him, and I screamed really loud.
Yeah,
if you guys want to know.
Well, he took off his shoes, and I was like, oh no, not the shoes. Like, it's just extremely painful. All right, and one match specifically that stuck out to you?
On either show or just
on just one show? Just give me one match where you're like, I could rewatch that match over.
Cody and Darby Allin.
Yeah.
I actually rewatched it this morning after watching it last night. I was like, I just loved. He really just let it all go. Yeah. And Cody's just so good at like.
Cody's been on fire.
Yeah.
His
Cody's
last 2 outings.
The whole fantastic. He was like, you're not that good, and then the whole time Darby's like, no, I'm that good. Right. Kind of like story element that they use. Exactly. I absolutely love the whole thing.
Brought him to another level. Like I said, they really brought something. Like Joey Janela, if you're an independent wrestling fan, you know who this guy is. But if you are a generic fan and you've never heard of this guy before, you sure as hell know now, right? I'm in agreement with you on that. I really enjoyed the Fatal 4-Way too on Fyter Fest with MJF and Havoc and Paige and everything else. I thought that was really nice.
I'll give you one on best in the world. Jay Lethal, Kenny King. I would go back and watch again.
And I'm not even a Kenny King fan. And
not really. But just watching like how that whole match, like Jay Lethal was trying to hit Kenny's finisher like the whole match, and then Kenny hits the lethal injection on him. I was like, that's a great way to end a 3-match story arc.
Right.
So absolutely. You have to watch all 3 of them to really like get that like moment.
Right.
And then just like kind of upset me, like you said, the main event only going 9 minutes. I just
felt like that's just bad time management. It's all it was. It's all it is at the end of the day, right? Bad time management.
Well, you like killed Jeff Cobb with that match.
Right. Basically. Exactly. Spent all this time for no reason. Real quick before we shift over to some Michigan news, just compare these cards to Stomping Grounds. Did the Stomping Grounds at least hold up? In your opinion, not necessarily better, but does it like where you go, okay, I'm not upset about watching that compared to these other 2 events?
No, I would watch all 3 of them. Yeah. Like usually some WWE events, I go, no, let me give me something else. Yeah. I'd put it as last, maybe even second to Fyter Fest being last. Yeah. But I'd say it's up there. Yeah. They're all within like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for me shows kind of thing.
I think a lot of people are gonna be mad because we're not dogging Fyter Fest, but Fyter Fest was a Clash of the Champions. Is what it was. Yeah. Let's be real here, folks. Okay?
Well, it's also very hard to compare because you're looking at Best in the World being Ring of Honor's like WrestleMania, and then you're going, and then you got Fyter Fest, which is just so
best in the world. Yeah, Best in the World and Final Battle are like 2 Ring of Honor.
Yeah, they're like the two like it's like SummerSlam, WrestleMania to WWE or whatever.
Exactly.
And you're looking Best in the World to Fyter Fest, which would be like Backlash to WWE standards.
Exactly.
So like it's very hard to say.
I think there just needs to be some rounding out of talent for AEW, right? They just really need to kind of start really cultivating. And I think once they get the weekly TV show, we're going to see that. Obviously,
it's hard to not have a TV show and set up 4 huge cards that you're trying to go.
Exactly. So they're just trying to keep themselves afloat until TV. Exactly. All right, let's bring Kyle into the mix now. We're going to talk a little Michigan baseball.
Did you watch any of it, Kyle?
They lose.
I did watch some.
Yeah, they lose in the College World Series in Game 3 of 3 to Vanderbilt. Hell of a run, right? They were unranked. They beat UCLA, the number 1 ranked team in the country, to get to the tournament. Yeah. Phenomenal job overall. It's the first time they've even sniffed the College World Series championship since like 1984 or something like that. So it's been a really long time. Does recent success, Kyle, make you want to watch more Michigan baseball?
No.
I asked this question ironically because the answer is anybody who says yes, you're lying. So just go.
No, I mean, like people could say, "Oh, you're not a Michigan fan." Oh, you don't. But like, hey, we got we support. but baseball, God no. Yeah, like unless they become like the Alabama football for baseball, I don't see any.
My problem with Michigan baseball is just not on.
No, no college baseball is
exactly. But that's what I mean. Like you have to like go out of your way to go find it to watch it.
Find it online to go watch it.
ESPN 4
on some sketchy websites.
ESPN the Ocho. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I agree with you.
If it was mainstream, like if it was just on ESPN like regular ESPN.
Yeah.
Maybe you turn it on, there's like not a lot of.
Right, I'm with you. For
It's
sure.
also during like the NBA playoff season too, so that's really
tough.
hard.
It's tough for sure.
Be in there.
More importantly, though, outside of Michigan baseball, congratulations, by the way, on a great run, for sure.
Absolutely.
But the big thing I want to talk about is the university as a whole. Now, this is just another instance, this loss is another instance of Michigan losing in big games. You can go back to, in basketball this year, they lost to Michigan State 3 times, including in the Big Ten final. You look at Michigan in football, you lost to Ohio State again, you lost to Notre Dame again. Your record against Michigan State has not been good. There's a lot of things that you can point to and going, okay, we always seem to get there, but we never seem to finish it and get the job done, right? One way or the other. What is this the new thing? Is this the new stigma against Michigan athletics as a whole? Because we always said that about State, right? State, oh, you can be fine, you're really good, and then you blow it in the big game, right? Michigan doesn't have a great track record of not blowing it, especially in the past 10 years. So, Kyle, I'll start with you. Is this the new thing that Michigan needs to overcome? Is kind of like, all right, whether it's football, basketball, whatever, go win a Big Ten championship, right? Go win a national championship. I'm going to ask that in a second, but is this the next obstacle that Michigan as a whole needs to overcome and not just get the overrated label because they're Michigan?
Yeah, because when you're like Michigan, you're all this prestigious college, one of the best in the country, and you're losing big games in like almost every sport.
Yeah.
I guess for baseball, they were an underdog.
No doubt. But I'm saying
you came in, they weren't really expecting much. But Michigan football, when you come into the season like already favored to be in the college football playoff, and you can't even beat Ohio State for the 14th straight season,
right?
And that's when it starts to become, and then you will lose to State in basketball. That's when it starts to become like you need to like actually start winning these games because you are up there with some of the greats of college sports, and you're losing.
And you have the resources, you have the athletes, you have the recruiting classes. Everything is there's nothing against you. Let's put it that way, right? Like your recruiting class is not that much worse or better than say Ohio State's is, right? Most of the time, you're pretty up there. You're both top 5 at the end of the day. You both have quote unquote good coaches. So, Mike, same question to you. Is this something that Michigan needs to overcome? Because once again, you look at this track record, it ain't pretty. It really isn't.
Yeah, can we just win one? Let's just go. They definitely do need to overcome it.
Yeah.
It's literally basketball. They lost the 2 championships. Well, 2013, there's no winner now.
Oh yeah, right. But but here's the thing though, right? Like I will absolve Michigan basketball of losing to Michigan State this year because they won it last year. You know what I mean? They won the Big Ten tournament. But point being is that it's just another example though of us not getting it done. You know what I mean? It's a Final Four run that goes awry, right? It's a national championship we get blown out in. It's another rivalry loss that you have on your record where you go, it's great. In Michigan football, okay, cool, you won 8 games, awesome, or you won 10 games. But if you're 10-1 and that one loss is Ohio State, where the hell does that get me? Not in Indy, not in a Big Ten championship game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I know I'm. People must think that I'm not even a Michigan fan. I am so hard on Michigan all the time when we talk about them.
You're hard
but it's very frustrating though because it's just you go and you say. You're supposed to be this powerhouse, right? Yeah. Alabama doesn't lose these games. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't, right? They win them just about as much as they lose them. Michigan's about, this is the loss, this is the win column, right? At least Alabama's got a right to lose a national championship game. They won 12 of them, all right? Yeah. Michigan hasn't even sniffed one since '97, for goodness sake. So, for me, you have to just go and say, let's go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Expectations should be higher than, okay, well, we used to suck, so now we should be good. You know what I mean? Like, that can't be...
That's my Lions' expectation.
Yeah, that's different because they've never won, though. Yeah. That's the difference, right? But it's a little bit different. And I agree with you. They shouldn't suck. That's the point. I want to give you guys a real quick opinion on this. Next Michigan team to win a national championship.
Definitely football.
Definitely football.
Really? You guys are really confident about that.
Yeah. Because, when... Michigan football is the team that's always kind of up there. They're already projected to be in the 3rd or 4th spot in the college football playoff. You're getting all these amazing recruits.
Are they this year already?
Yeah, they're projected.
Are they really?
4 in the college football playoff.
4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's an anticipation.
It's always an anticipation. Like, you don't know
like brand new offense. You're supposed to have this top defense already.
Yeah.
I mean, it could just turn awful, and you could Shea Patterson get injured, and all the forwards starting.
No, we just need to lose the right game.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State loses the right game. They lose to Purdue.
Yeah, right. They lose the game close. I didn't lose close this year, but
no, they
win the rivalry games and they win when it matters.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, there has to be that one. I think Michigan's the closest one because it's awful to say it like this. How I'm going to say it, but there's going to be 1 year within the next couple of years where they're going to finally beat Ohio State, and that's the year they're going to do it.
You think so?
Yeah,
I hope so.
I mean, Urban Meyer's not there anymore.
Yeah, I know, but it's just
But just like basketball, it's so unpredictable with the big tournament and stuff that like getting through 8 straight games of not losing is so hard to do.
No doubt.
Football, it's like if you can overcome the Ohio State game, you're 2 games away from the championship. So realistically, I feel like they have the best shot. And then Michigan baseball, I don't think they're going to go on this run that they did last year.
No.
And hockey.
It's hockey. Yeah, exactly.
They even they probably won actually.
Yeah, they probably did. Yeah. I mean, no, but that's what I'm saying, though, right? Is that
so that's why I think football's the closest. I could see basketball if they get hot again at the end of the year or something.
But all these other teams, like you need like some crazy run to win.
Yeah, Michigan. If you get past that Ohio State game, you're like 11-1, 12-0. You get that. You play Oklahoma, then you play Alabama. If you can beat those, you're in.
Right,
so
exactly.
I feel like you have the best shot there. Yep. However, beating Ohio State.
Walking into this topic, I didn't know what you guys were going to say. I was kind of surprised you guys said football as quickly as you did, but you kind of sold me on it, so I would agree with you on that.
What would you have said before you heard us? Were you going to say basketball?
I probably would have said football, but I would have said I don't see any team in the next 5 years winning a national championship. Honestly,
well, I don't know. I don't know if a team wins a national championship, but say a Final Four appearance, I can see Michigan going undefeated and then just sneaking by Ohio State somehow.
Right.
And now you're in the Final Four.
Right.
Then you get a ball going your way or something. You could, you get a run. I don't know if they'll be the best team going.
I'm not saying that Harbaugh's done a bad job with the football program. Clearly, he hasn't. But the expectation being that we're competing for Big Ten championships is the expectation.
Yeah.
That has not happened yet. So until that starts happening, until we've done that and we've beaten Ohio State, I'm not so as concerned about beating Michigan State on a consistent basis. I think that's an up and down. That's going to be a tighter battle for years to come. But the Ohio State thing is important, so that needs to happen. All right, last topic of the episode: NBA schedule changes. So I know me and Mike, we were talking about this earlier in the week. The NBA basically coming out and proposing that they may be shortening their schedule between 50 to 75 games. They could have like a mid-season cup champion because everyone's a winner. And they could have like this wild card thing happen. There's a whole bunch of different ideologies out there, right? But I want to just stick to the length for a second, right? Just going from 82 to 75, 50, whatever. Is that a good move by the NBA to shorten their season just a little bit, right? To combat some of this stuff, right? Does it combat player resting? Does it combat injuries to big names? Does it make the playoffs more intense because people are more fresh and ready to go? Doesn't matter. Michael, start with you. Give me your thoughts.
Personally, I don't think it matters that much. However, I do think if you shorten it, you do probably combat star player resting. I don't even know if you would, to be honest.
Possibly.
If you're Toronto and you're winning 60 games in an 82-game season, and the season goes on to 70 games, or 65 games or whatever, you win 48 or 50, you're still going there, so he's still going to rest, what X amount of games or whatever. It actually just benefits people like older guys like, say, LeBron James, if you really wanted to say it, because now you only have to play 50 games in the season to get to the playoffs, and then your playoff runs, the whole season is just shorter, which just benefits the older players that are in the league. Yeah, personally, I don't think it's been a big issue. I actually want to see changes to maybe other seasons and maybe how the playoffs are rely on. But a season like this.
Kyle, same question to you, right? Are you in favor of possibly shortening the season? We're gonna talk about other sports here in a second about it, but I want to, just basketball. Is 82 too long? Is it just right? Do you think they could cut it down by 10, 15 games? Give me your thoughts on it.
I think they like Michael said. I don't think there's that big of an importance. I guess it makes the game slightly more important if you're having like a 50 game season.
Clearly, because there's less margin for error.
Obviously, and I guess if it's like 65, this resting thing, I guess nothing would really change. But if it's like 50, if you're really getting down to 50, I guess then you could say, be like, oh, these people don't need to rest. You could play 82 games, now you have to be rested during a 51 season. Obviously, it helps the older guys. It helps someone like LeBron where he doesn't have to play 82 games and then carry a team in the playoffs for the entire playoffs, trying to get to the finals. So it obviously helps. I don't think it would be that big of a deal if they don't change it or do change it. Like Michael said, there was other things that could be changed that probably would be way more beneficial.
Obviously, I think playoff seeding is one that I think we've all liked to see. It just instead of 8 and 8, it just be 1 through 16.
Yeah,
and just
I would
see
actually 100%. I'd prefer the All-Star game to do what baseball does.
And
have the
home court
determine the winner, and go back to East and West and have the winner determine, because I feel like that just adds so much importance to it to get home court, because they just go, oh yeah, best record's gonna get it. So like the Warriors are 73-9, and they're like, all right, we just get home court the whole time. But say the East wins it, even if you're an 8 seed going in, now you get home court advantage. I think that dynamic is so interesting.
Yeah, for sure, and it would make people want to watch the All-Star game, because nobody watches the All-Star game for anything.
I mean, I probably wouldn't still want to watch it,
but it'd be like, oh, okay.
But you'd be like, at least there's importance to it.
For sure. But like, how you say like the Warriors, since they have the 73-9 season, they'll have home court advantage all the time. But if the West is so stacked with all these stars, and you go back to the system where it's just West versus East, could West just win every year?
Yeah, but at least there's an incentive though for.
I mean, I get it. Like,
play.
I get it that it's going to give like the players a lot more reason to play, but then the East is going to get slaughtered by the West.
Well, I don't think. I guess this could be argued too. I don't think the dynamic between the East and West,
as far as star players,
players is super huge.
It's the teams.
Like I could say, okay, you name the teams. You're like, oh, Warriors, Rockets, OKC to a point, Lakers to a point. Like you got all these teams that are like going to be 45-win seasons. But when you go star players, you go. The East has Giannis, Kawhi, Kyrie. You got Balake. You have at least a good starting 5 on each side,
for sure.
which could really make the game competitive.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's such a disparity.
Kemba's on the East.
Yeah. So like you can't just go, oh well, it's 5v5 no matter what. So what your 5 over here is Curry, LeBron, KD, but this side you got Kyrie, Giannis, and Kawhi.
Sure.
So it's not super. It's not.
Yeah,
super
I'm looking
diverse.
for sure. Last question on kind of on this topic, right? Do you think another sport would benefit from shortening their season? Like, do you think baseball or hockey, not football, obviously, you only have 16 games, right? But, like, I think baseball would benefit greatly from shortening their season. You know what I mean? There's just so many games.
Yeah.
You can lose 15 games in a row and be fine.
Yeah.
Like, theoretically. You know what I mean? Like,
I like having basketball have a lot because I love watching the NBA, so I love having a game on every night during the season. Because if it went down to 50, there'd probably be some nights that they just don't have games on because they don't have enough games to fill.
Yeah.
Even if baseball goes down, you wouldn't have that problem. I would like to see hockey go down to a decent amount because of just how aggressive and how physical the sport of hockey is.
Hard to play hockey.
It's I don't want to see like Alex Ovechkin get hurt.
Right, of course.
Early on or later in the season after playing his 80th straight game or something and then be out for the playoffs.
Right.
I feel like the NBA doesn't have that big of a problem where like LeBron's not going to be hurt, just like aching after the 80th game to where he just can't play unless
because he's old, man. He's 35.
Yeah, unless you're Kevin Durant. Oh, never mind. So yeah, I would go hockey.
Yeah, I think hockey could benefit a little bit too. Like I said, if nothing else, I think it's why NFL sometimes I think people forget. It's like there's only 16 games. You know what I mean? So it's like you lose a game, you're like, son of a.
I would like to see just the preseason get cut for the NFL.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen. Shouldn't read that.
I don't know if they're gonna be like those 2 games. Make it 18-game seasons. I don't know if I'd like.
I don't want that. I think if you just cut 2 games.
I think if you just have like.
Because then you got to pay the players more. You're paying 2 more games that are actually meaningful football.
Yeah, like if you have week 1 where week 1 is in the preseason, and then you do like week 3 or 4 where that games are set. Yeah. I think that's a perfect time because I don't want to go no preseason.
I think the first game. I think your first game is just like a warm-up tune-up game. Your second game is your dress rehearsal, right? Like it's almost like week 1 of college football, right? Where the first game, unless you're in a marquee matchup, is a blowout 99% of the time, right? So it's Michigan versus Toledo.
They're playing Mid-Tennessee this year, Michigan.
Right, exactly.
So that should be like
the second preseason game for the NFL before you go, okay, then we open up, now we're going to play against whoever. Yeah. You know what I mean? We play Oklahoma week 2 or whatever. You know what I mean? So I agree with you guys. All right, that's going to be it for part 2 of episode 31. Please stick around. As always, we've got some great title change action happening. So congratulations to whoever our champion is. Is it Mike? Is it Kyle? Is it me? I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely not you.
It's not me?
No,
it's for you guys. All right, fine. Well, stick around, I guess. Maybe I went back. Who knows? Do we have any free agency news before I forget?
I think I do. I just got a report.
Okay.
Derek Martel Rose. I looked it up. That's his middle name.
Is it really?
Martel Rose. Will officially become a Piston as of 6 o'clock Sunday night.
6 o'clock. Derek Rose, a Detroit Piston. Goodbye, Ish Smith. I will never miss you.
Well, what if they get rid of Reggie instead?
Cool. That means they cleared cap. Awesome. And
but they keep Ish Smith.
I'm cool. It cleared cap space. That's awesome. That'd be awesome. I'm fine with that too. But goodbye, Ish Smith. I hate you. I don't really hate you. I just really can't stand the way you play basketball. He's like you know who he is? Just real quick before we actually sign off officially. Ish Smith is Sean Hill to me. Everyone thinks Sean Hill was like a great backup quarterback, come in, win you a couple games as a starter, right?
Yeah.
And in reality, he could never actually do that because he was awful. That's who Ish Smith is. Ish Smith's like, wow, he's a really great point guard. He does a lot of great passing. He never passes the ball. He just shoots it all the time.
I kind of like Ish Smith.
No, that's fine. That's why I'm
what?
mad at you.
Yeah, say something. Okay. Say something.
All right, guys. Derek Rose is going to be a Piston. That's awesome. Probably next week we'll talk some more free agency stuff about the NBA, as well as the G1 Climax, and a whole bunch more great stuff. All that more for our NBA Insider. For the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan. See you guys, as always, next time.
I can't believe we lost.
I know, right? This guy. Every time.
All right.
Every time.
No more talk of wrestling. Sorry, I got a little angry, but I did make some fresh cookies for you guys. Have yourself a treat.
That's a keeper.
That's a keeper. That's true. I know. I was marrying her for some reason. I don't know why.
Good choice, man.
Well, I know, right?
You enjoy.
All right, there you go.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
It's pretty good. I like that.
No. Good stuff, guys. Real good stuff.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm feeling something.
Uh-oh.
I gotta go. Oh my god, it's going.
I don't know where to go. Don't judge me!
Oh, I give up. I give up.
See you next week.